Welcome to the first episode of the podcast experience, a mix of podcast and Jay Portman tapping into the field of podcasting. And I'm very happy to bring you entrepreneurial stories, business in Doha, business in Qatar, thought leaders and creative thinkers here on this podcast. So thank you for tuning in. Welcoming our first guest today, Vito Cerabona from Buono. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Privileged to be here.
Thank you.
Your first one.
Yes, number one, as always.
Yes.
How are you, Vito?
I'm very well, thanks. Good
good?
to have me. Thank you.
Let us talk about Buono briefly. Okay.
Sure.
Tell us about who you are. What is Buono? Why are you here in Qatar?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, as you've said, I'm Vito Cerabona. I'm managing partner of Buono Qatar. We are a chocolate and flour company, in essence, a company which was locally created here, with definitely a local aspect to it. And we look to offer services revolving around chocolates and flowers and gifts and gift experience to all consumers in Qatar.
Okay.
And that's in essence what we are here to do.
Okay. It's a very special year for you, isn't it?
It is a very special year. Yes, it marks our 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
We were founded in 2010. So yeah, this will be kind of the 10th year of our operations, which is very, very important, very important milestone for us, especially in the retail market in this country. 10 years is a good achievement to have reached.
I think so too. With many new concepts opening up, 10 years is quite a statement.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Why are you in Qatar? What made you come here?
Wow, it's a good question. I mean, I can't probably put my finger on one thing. I mean, ultimately, my wife and I were looking for a new experience. We were looking for definitely to experience something new. Not really with an idea to start a business, but really to start a new life, to a new life experiences, and wanted to expand our cultural experiences. Definitely, we felt we were a little bit restricted within the UK, for that side of things. And yeah, we just came to Qatar purely by fate. It was just something that we wanted to experience. And we were very open-minded to the Middle East, and we came here.
Okay. And what did you do at first?
Yeah, we were both first in education.
Okay.
So we were both trained teachers. My wife still is, and I was a sports teacher at the time, so very different to chocolate, for sure. But yes, we came here to work as teachers within the education system. I was doing that for the first probably 4 years of being here, and then eventually very quickly changed career path. But yeah.
How did that come about?
Oh, well, I mean, we were very lucky and fortunate to have met a very special local family here. We became very close friends, very close acquaintances, family friends. We spent a lot of time together. And I think that allowed me to share my passion for business and for entrepreneurship in an open setting, find out more about the country without feeling the pressure of having to start something. Yeah. So yeah, really, that's how it kind of took that step. Really, we were helping the family with educational needs, plotting their educational career path. And while we were doing that in our free time, in our unwinding time, we kind of found a spark of conformity, I guess, a common ground, where we love to speak about business and love to speak about the opportunities out there and maybe what was missing in Qatar. And that ignited, I guess, an entrepreneurial spirit in me that was kind of there for a long time. But I kind of maybe put it down a bit while I was obviously working within a normal scope of a job, educational job. Yeah.
So you said, in total then 14 years in Qatar, or what?
Yeah, now we're almost where we will be, as we finish this year, we will be getting on to 14 years.
Wow.
So yes, a big
impressive.
Yes, we came here newly married, no children, and now we are 3 children and slightly grayer and slightly fatter, and
But massive market knowledge, 14 years.
Yeah, I mean, we've learned an awful lot. Right. I think the way we started as well, we didn't start by acquiring millions of reals worth of investment or going to a bank, or we started very, very...
Tell us about the start. How did you start? I think there's a sandwich story or two involved.
There is, yes. It's. I think if anyone had to try to guess how the company started, I think you'd have a hard time. But as I mentioned, my partners were young entrepreneurs who were actually within education system, universities, and while they were doing that, we kept talking constantly about business and what we could do, without wanting to take them off the career path, which their father trusted us to do that. So we said, okay, we need to start something. We need to do something. We need to feel this spirit. We need to feel this electricity that we have between us. So at that time, as I said, I was a PE teacher, and I noticed that when I took my teams to the sporting events, that there were never no on-site refreshment facilities because the schools were closed generally. It was after school, it was after. So my boys or my teams were always complaining they didn't have enough water, or they were hungry, or they wanted to stop before we got there or after, and already the day was long enough. I wanted to get home, So I said to the guys, listen, why don't we try to propose to the board that we could sell refreshments during the tournaments. It would just require us to go and buy some juice and some drinks and make some sandwiches and then get someone to sell them. So, and we keep it independent from us, we went. So that's how it started. We put 1,000 reals each in. We went to go and buy a cool box and some juice and some water. And we were making sandwiches on the Majlis floor together. And that was the start of our business journey.
Wow. And how did you get from sandwich to chocolate and flour then? How did that came about?
Again, I mean, life's a funny thing, but again, I think how we got there was that those experiences that we fused together at that time, when I think Qatar has a tendency to make you a little bit lazy as an entrepreneur. Mostly when you're an expat in your own country, you will start your business from the ground, from whatever you have in your hands. You won't walk into a bank and say, give me 100,000 euros or 100,000 pounds, or without a really clear mission, a plan,
Definitely.
So I think and Qatar has that tendency because there are people who are willing to invest and people who are maybe have the funds. But for me, those moments were really important because I'm sat there on a floor with people who are, didn't have to be there. And when I knew when I had my partners around me who were willing to do that, that no matter what came, we were always going to be successful. So what happened at that time was we were also helping the family prepare for events, in their house, diplomatic events and family events, and which required getting the Majlis prepared, for flowers and for chocolates. At that time, I guess our taste or our style, my wife and I, kind of resonated. I think the family liked how we saw things should look. So we were trusted in that way to kind of help a lot with that. And when we started to explore that, we found there wasn't a great deal of choice.
In the market
existing. And I think there was choice, but I believed there was a big gap in the market. There were trusted chocolate and flour companies who have been in the market, maybe international brands, who I believe the cost was very high.
At a higher price
point. So when you are then talking about 10 or 20 pieces or 30 pieces, it's a significant amount.
Definitely.
And from a very humble background and a normal salary that I was on, when I saw those bills, I was like, wow, that's huge amounts. And then when we tried to maybe look for maybe a cheaper option or more reasonable, should I say, I found that the style wasn't able to be achieved that I know that the family and Qataris were perhaps looking for. That got the thinking, they ignited my spirit at that point. I was making sandwiches, I was making juice, the entrepreneurial spirit had come back. So I kind of thought, I can't shut this off. There's a real big opportunity here. Could we deliver the top end of perhaps product and taste and style, but could we deliver it at a more reasonable price point? Is there anything that's special there that we couldn't do? that's what got everything moving really. And we felt that was a big opportunity there because we'd explored the market. You know, we'd been in as normal, real people looking for a solution.
So you saw the gap first. You felt there's something missing. There's something maybe unfulfilled, and that made you take that step to basically found Buono, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. You know, and again, it still took quite a few steps to get there, but fundamentally that was the thing that was there. We knew that, listen, business success is never guaranteed, but at least if you could start on a journey where there is a demand, there is a need,
it makes it a lot easier, doesn't it?
You know, so I think we and for me, it was always important. I didn't know the dynamics of expatriates, how it would be, how it would shape, how it would grow, how it would decline over the years. So for me, I was connected with a Qatari family. I thought that was a very unique experience at the time. I didn't hear of many other of my friends or having that experience. So I thought, well, okay, if we can tap into what are local Qatari people's needs and demands, at least that population is always going to be steady and stable and grow. So, you know, if we feel we can tap into that, whatever comes after that is a bonus. But and I guess that was the start point.
Okay, linking this to you said earlier, sometimes Qatar maybe makes you feel a bit lazy as an entrepreneur because there's so much given from the start. And you said it was not the case maybe with you, and it's definitely not the case when you start back in Europe, maybe with, like you said, with just what you had and you want to make it happen. How do you see this maybe as a challenge right now here for entrepreneurs in the market?
Yeah, I think what for me, Marco, what it does is, I think it doesn't provide a sense of reality from the beginning. For both, for whether it's an investor or a partner or an entrepreneur starting a business. I think you don't really taste fully the market. You do your research, of course, you know, but you know, for me, it doesn't provide all the answers. And when you are talking about hundreds of thousands of investment, those answers have got to be a lot more secure and a lot more guaranteed. So I think it does. I think the challenge is creating a sense of reality for how successful something will be, how hard will it be to start up, how hard will it be to be developed, and then the level of success.
I think it's always harder than you imagine in the beginning, isn't it?
I mean, it was. I mean, look, it still is, but I think the entrepreneurial journey, if most people, is something that everyone will talk about. And honestly, if you don't have that sense of reality from the beginning, that journey just becomes so much more difficult. Yeah, it's draining. You know, because so much doubt comes into your mind as an entrepreneur. So much anxiety, so much doubts, so many doubts. So if you are then have all of those things and you have a sense of reality that's so far away from that, I think it's almost an impossible.
Is there any way you can prepare for that pain maybe that comes when you start a business, or you just say maybe it's not for everyone?
I think so. I think there definitely are. I mean, listen, I never graduated in business. I was never worked in the business setting. So for me, I think I'm probably a good example of there are some inbuilt personality traits and perhaps some experiences of your early childhood and early work life that either you have it or you don't. And there's no kind of stereotypical person who you think that's gonna be.
I think you are the best example. Because what do? Do you need to study business? Do you need to have a background in, I don't know, accounting, or do you even study entrepreneurship? I think that's not needed. We see it right there.
Yeah, I think, I mean, listen, it does create, on the flip side, as a really honest and humble entrepreneur, it does in the dark days maybe create a bit of more anxiety, because you think to yourself, well, am I experiencing this because I haven't studied business? Have I experienced this because I haven't worked?
Missing?
Is there something missing? You know, but I think those core traits, you know, that are in people, and there can be a range of those things. I think, as you say, there's nothing that, in my experience, there's nothing that you can study that's going to be sure for you to be the guaranteed perfect entrepreneur. You know?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Speaking of success, because I mean, after 10 years now, Buono, I think we can say, is rather successful. I believe you're opening up a few more branches.
Yes.
How do you define success? How over the past years, how did you define success?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. Yes, I mean, I feel we have been successful in maintaining our footprint in this market, and as you mentioned, our 10th year will mark the opening of our 6th branch.
Wow.
So I feel, in terms of that, it's something to be proud of, and I think the word pride is something that I do stick on. I think success for me is always looking at something that you can be proud of. You know, when you walk into a branch or when you walk into one of your businesses, can you be proud of it? You know, is there something there that you're not proud of? For me, success is making sure that my partners and my local family are proud of what we've achieved, that they have a connection to it, that they feel that it's something that proudly represents them in the community. And for me, success is looking back every day and feeling that we've achieved something that is worth something and something to be proud of.
Okay.
And again, success for me is, are we still relevant to the people that we are trying to serve? You know, are we still providing service to those people, to our consumers?
How do you ensure that? Conversation with their customers, listening to what they need. What is it?
I think it's being very close on the ground to your customers. I mean, again, from the very beginning, I have made a point of performing every role within the business. Okay, whether that is the role of being a sales assistant or being a designer or driving or being a storekeeper or being an accountant, most of the time because you had to, because you couldn't afford to pay people.
Definitely.
But ultimately, one of the cultures that I put in my business is to always turn around to people and say, before you're going to comment on other people's jobs or roles, go and do that job. Go and spend a bit of time being a designer, go and spend a bit of time being an accountant, and I do welcome that opportunity. And I think that allowed me at the very start to create a culture where we listen very closely to our customers. Okay. Sometimes going against what maybe is connected to what I thought was right or what I would want as a consumer. But I never allowed that to kind of overcome the drive. And I think always being close to the customers, giving them an output, feeling that they can come in and talk, they can post on social media, or they can send us direct messages, they can contact us on WhatsApp.
You're available for them, basically.
100%, yes. And there's never any block or any customers are willing to walk in and to talk. And yes, I think that's a really important point.
Definitely. You mentioned you are opening now branch number 6, right? Isn't that a bit against the trend of what we see? Because I see shops closing down in malls, I see shops closing down outside, I see small business having a very hard time establishing, especially brick and mortar stores outside. Yes. And you're going out there and opening 3 new branches.
Yes. I mean, we spoke, I mentioned the doubt factor that creeps into entrepreneurs' minds. And I do want to say to anyone who may be listening, that those are things that never go away, whether you're at the start of your journey, in the middle of your journey, or deep into your journey. And as you say, psychologically, I see the market, I study the market deeply. I'm on the ground, and the psychology of seeing people closing down or downsizing when you are going the opposite has its toll every day, especially when there's finances involved and money involved,
I mean, it's a risk, it's a fit out cost you have, it's an investment.
Of course, hugely. All I can say, Marco, is you've got to be brave. You've got to be true to yourself, and that bravery has got to be backed up with something. Definitely. It's got to be backed up with experience and with knowledge. We have, even during the blockading years, we have enjoyed growth. We continue to enjoy growth. We have a population of people coming to the branches that are still traveling quite far. Okay. So for me, that gives us an idea. We do record where people are coming from. We talk to them. And so we feel that when you've got a business enjoying growth, it continues to enjoy growth year on year. And there are still areas that we have not geographically put ourselves. And I feel that gives you the positivity to be true to your mission, and to be brave, and to know that what you're doing is something that can be successful if it's done correctly. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think what we've done from the very beginning is we have made ourselves an integrated part of communities. We have, from the very beginning, some of that is because of necessity when it comes of finances, but secondly is because we haven't stereotypically gone to put our shops or branches where everyone maybe would expect us to put them.
What would that be?
Well,
what would people expect?
Major malls, some of the major malls. Of course, malls are very important, and we have them now, and we are. But at the very beginning, for me, what was more important than a mall was a community. Was the communities that we were going to serve. What community or which communities would our brand best serve? Okay. And if we could, I believe that the shopping experience of chocolates and flowers and gifts still lends itself to a more community-based spirit, where you are picking something up on the way to visit someone, or you are choosing a shop which is closest to where you want to send that gift to, okay? And not necessarily where you're going to go for a coffee or a bite to eat or going to watch a movie.
And why do you think that is?
I just think...
Is it because people want to influence how it looks like? They want to customize? They want to see actually what they give away?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think when people are going to certain malls, they may be meeting friends, they want to go and enjoy, and they want to go and have a coffee and a bite to eat. And I think when actually they want to take the time to buy a gift, especially in this country, chocolates and flowers are a symbol of that affection to someone. And I think they want to take their time to make sure they're choosing the right item, they're choosing the right flowers. And I believe something which is close to their house or closest to their house gives them that time to come in. So for us, we definitely believe that our experience lends itself to a community feel. And therefore, we still believe that we haven't served all communities in Qatar yet. We still believe that there are many geographical areas that we can still serve without affecting our customer base in other branches. And I guess that's given us the confidence to push forward.
Fair enough. If we say the business model itself, or choosing a gift for someone, designing it, I know that's possible, customizing it, choosing the right flowers, like you said. If this is such a hands-on experience in your shops, how do you evaluate digital ways of maybe shopping online, shopping over Instagram, getting it delivered? How relevant is this to you?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. I think one of our major key components is giving that customers the flexibility and freedom to come and to customize, for them to have an idea or a dream or an aspiration of what they want something to look like, and for us to talk them through that journey and to get them. That obviously is very, very relevant to a face-to-face experience, and of course that's something that we care very deeply about. However, when you then do those experiences time after time after time, you developed a brand that people can start to trust. And that trust then allows people to know that they can still obtain a nice output, but maybe in a more convenient way, whether it's from home, whether it's accessing WhatsApp or sending us a message on Instagram, using our online payment system. And finally, this year will be the launch of our own online store, where they can actually just go in and order directly through the website.
But you said something interesting. Just after you confirm that, and you confirm brand and trust several times, this takes time. They visit you twice, 3, 10 times, 15 times, and only then they take the step and are maybe brave enough to say, okay, I can trust these guys, can order from home, I can deliver this directly to a friend. And this is something we see very rarely, because shops are so replaceable. The experience is so replaceable. There's nothing special about it. And you made it your number one priority to make the experience special, in order then to make it convenient afterwards. How did that come about, or is this just the nature of business?
I think what I found at the start of the journey was, I'm talking about local Qatari consumers here. They 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, they had a deep affiliation to the trust that was established from choosing international brands. Okay, they being something coming from Italy or coming from France or coming from outside of the country, automatically for them established a trust factor. So I found that at the start of our journey, that was one of the biggest struggles that I had, was people would come and they would really like the experience, they would like the customer experience, they would love the products, they would love the design, they would love the price point. But it was the customer being able to trust in the brand enough for it to have the same impact as an international brand.
To basically to represent something in front of their friends and family.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that thinking was, you know, how am I going to change that experience of people, got me on down that path of, you know, how can, and one of the things I came to was the trust element. If we know that we can provide consistency time and time again, more people will talk about us, B, as more people are talking about us, the impact of when a Buono bag arrives would grow. And secondly, then I knew the dawn of where we are now, because it had already started in America and Britain at that time, of online and people staying at home. I knew that was going to be really important in us being able to be successful. And you see that because some brands start here, owners an online flower shop, but they struggle because still people, you give them the opportunity, but you don't give them that experience or that trust.
100%.
You know, so I think
without the 10, 15 visits up front that they had with you.
Absolutely. And I think that was the big thing I focused on, was how can we make people feel that they've enjoyed the experience, they like visiting Buono, they're happy, they can go and tell some friends, because when they do that, that will replace millions of reals of marketing for me,
of course,
in terms of trust, which is, again, was the keyword I felt was going to be most important. Even if we're not as, in people's eyes, fashionable as a 150 worldwide brand store, but you're local. We're local, and we're trusted, and we know if something turns up on the door without us visiting your branch, it's going to be with your bag, with your logo, and with your style.
Oh, brilliant. What challenges do you see for the next generation of entrepreneurs coming up here in Qatar?
Yes, I mean, I think I already mentioned sense of reality is very important when you're starting, and the journey that you may come across and what you deem as to be success. I think the other point, which is very important, is sometimes the society leads you to conform. You know, repeating perhaps trends, or repeating things that feel safe, where people are establishing a certain sector, they're getting some traction in the market, they're getting, you know, social media experience from it, and they feel that their safest journey as an entrepreneur is to do the same thing. Short term. You know, they have a bit of safety, or people are going to like it for this period of time. For me, I think that is going to create huge challenges. I think we're seeing some of the impacts of that now with certain sectors in the market, where just a flood, you know, of oversupply of a certain concept, a certain sector. So I think creating that entrepreneurial spirit, not just the passion, the desire to start a business, but actually the strategic thinking behind what is the right concept to create. You know, can we think of something that hasn't been developed yet? Do we have a service that people are telling me won't be a success because they don't know about it? So I think that is definitely an area that's going to be more challenging. And I think marketing in general, I think here social media marketing is a huge presence, and rightly so. You know, it's the dawn
just
of
the coverage of smartphones and internet in Qatar.
Absolutely,
I think, you know, because of that,
it's huge. So everyone knows the best way to access a consumer or a potential customer, or is to, you know, use social media aggressively. But I think the problem is now, I'm finding, as all entrepreneurs will also find, is as that comes around and people understand how to use it, understand what people are trying to achieve, it becomes less effective sometimes, you know. And I think that's why it's really important that you have a really good marketing team, or a really good marketing agency, or a good strategy that, you know, with all the algorithms that are taking place now, and the huge amount of social media marketing that's out there, actually still making a mark and still making an impression in in your marketing is something that's going to be challenging. People think launch an Instagram page, maybe get an influencer to talk about you, sit back, wait for the money to come in, you know. And I think now, particularly on the point of influencers, again, they're very important, of course, but people know that they are now running a business. You know, people they maybe lost that trust of actually, do you really like that product? Do you really like that brand, or is that just another 20,000 for you in the bank? You know, so I think that's a challenge. And I think the final thing is, because of social media being the number one focus on people's marketing, I think people have lost sight sometimes of people are still humans. You know, you still got to create a fan. You've still got to create someone who wants to become a fan of your brand, who's going to talk about your brand. And sometimes that can only be done by that interaction.
Definitely.
And I think that's a big challenge that companies face now, where you're going to go all online, all social media. Where's that connection taking place? You know, where is that person becoming a fan of your brand? So yeah, I think they're the challenges.
The human aspect you're talking about, right? The not B2C, but maybe B2H, business to human.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, because as you say, the people who are, and that's what I found in this society, where, you know, it's, I call it, I mean, it's my own term, it's probably but this kind of butterfly effect, where because everything is done online or social media, or it's a band of consumers go from one new concept to next new concept, because those deep rooted connections have not been made. And the people who keep coming and keep coming, and sometimes even when they can order online, still keep coming, is because they're a fan of your brand. They've created a connection with your brand. And I think that can only be done sometimes mainly in bricks and mortar. That's why I'm really passionate about not losing that. I see we're losing it in the UK and US sometimes, the retail store. But I think it's so powerful, some of those connections that can be made. And I think that's the challenge now. How can you make those connections? And how can you make those connections even without stores? You know, or is there creative ways of marketing that you can still make those connections?
Maybe online.
And that's the journey I'm on now. How, when we have 6 branches, how can we make those connections still? And even if you're just encouraging people to buy online.
But like you said, this comes not through starting something, but through operating something. This is, if it's 10 years like in your case, or maybe 2 years, 6 months for others, but it comes through operating, not to setting something up.
I think.
This is a big challenge that we see. Starting things is easy. Operating and running them is a bit more difficult.
Really difficult. That's what keeps you awake at night.
Thank you for being here today, Vito.
Thank you so much. It's been a great honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, I hope you liked that video. Oh, thank you. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, please give the video a like, subscribe to our channel for more interesting and inspiring content. Comment down below what you would like us to post. Don't miss out on any of our videos by turning on the notifications on our channel, somewhere here, I guess. You can find all our social media links in the description below. Make sure to keep yourself updated with our content. See you in the next video.